Welcome back to another episode of the Fifth Quarter Podcast. I'm your host, Marcus Jones, the Bluff City Cowboy, coming to you live from Memphis, Tennessee. And for the first time in 3 weeks, we are able to celebrate. I apologize. Has it been 5 weeks?
I think it's been a really long time.
We are able to celebrate a victory Wednesday tonight. The Dallas Cowboys defeated the Washington Commanders 34-26 in a game that started off as probably one of the most boring games of the year and ended up being one of the most thrilling games. All within the last
41 points in the fourth quarter. That is unheard of. Yeah. I think we made history or something.
No, I think it was all within like 4 minutes at that.
Well, I've never seen a game like that. I wasn't very into the game. I know that sounds terrible, but I haven't really been into the games. Like, it's really hard to be excited for this team right now. And even still, I'm excited about the win, but I wasn't into it. And then it started getting really good. And I'm like, what's going on? Like, I guess the team wanted to give it to Dan Quinn. Real good. That was my only guess on the way that broke down. So,
full disclosure, I wasn't into the game for the game. I was into it for betting purposes. I made a ton of offensive bets on the Commanders. A ton of them.
Did you? And you didn't?
No, most of them lost.
I'm about to say, I don't blame you. I actually bet on their defense. Like, I had Jaden Daniels, Terry McLaurin, Brian Robinson Jr. I had them both up in like all of my slates. Now, they put up okay numbers with the exception of Brian Robinson because of the injury. I had them. I was very Washington heavy in my FanDuel this week. And I was able, because I was going with Washington, they cost less. I think I won like $8 or $9 on like 50-cent bets.
Yeah.
But I was so frustrated because we got to the third quarter. I'm like, McLaurin ain't got a damn catch. What's going on?
I was probably cheering more than Indy Commanders fan because I made a bunch of small bets, but the one bet I made was a $50 bet on McLaurin going over 60 yards. So,
well, you got the one, right?
I got that one, yeah.
One, okay, because he had that one big play. That was about it.
That pretty much evened me out for the day.
Thank goodness. It was a really weird game. And the funny thing is, and now I probably am setting myself up, and we'll talk about this when we get to the New York section of this, but I'm probably setting myself up because I did go Cowboys defense on the game we're about to play.
Okay.
Because I look at the game, I think that we've gotten healthy enough now that I think against this team, I'm not too – if Daniel Jones was still starting, I'd be a little more concerned, but I don't even think Danny's playing. And if he is – like, I know they said he didn't travel with the team.
You mean Tommy?
Danny DeVito. Sorry, the actor. DeVito's not playing, I think, or is he playing? And he's traveling with the team. I don't think we really know what's going on. So I put pretty heavy on the Cowboys defense this time around. I have good faith in them. They played really well. Probably a good idea with the way the season's going, but we're going to see.
Yeah. So as you guys can see, Amanda and I hopped right in it. So before we go too far, thank you guys for joining us tonight. We've been off a couple of weeks. Good reason. Business has been booming. So for some reason, people keep booking my services on Wednesday nights. And
we can tell everybody. Hold on.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
So I don't know if you saw, that was the insane video the Dallas Cowboys posted on their all their social media. I was selected as the 2024 NFL Dallas Cowboy Fan of the Year. So they surprised me at the Star, and they gave me this really cool jersey and 2 tickets to the Super Bowl. I get to go to a game, and they're going to honor me and let me go on the field and meet some players and stuff. So I'm pretty excited. That was like 3 days post-surgery, major dental surgery. So I was really not in the best place to be having videos made of me, but it's an honor nonetheless. And so, I forgot about that. We could finally tell you. I knew already last show.
Yeah.
But so go vote for me so the Cowboys can win something at the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and Amanda, if you can find that link, go ahead and type it in the comments so people can go and check that out after the show ends.
Yeah.
And while Amanda does that, thank you guys for joining us. I see the views are still going up, so thank you everybody watching from the DC4L Facebook group and my personal YouTube channel. For you guys who are watching on YouTube, If you haven't done so already, be sure to go on Facebook, join the DC4L group. Got a lot of great things going on around the holiday season and around football season in general. A lot of great conversation, a lot of great things going on in the community. So be sure to check us out for all of your Cowboys news and notes. And also go over to YouTube, find the DC4L YouTube channel as well. Hit that subscribe button. And also find me at Bluff City Cowboys on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button as well.
Remember, at this point, I'm at the point now where if we can add both of our subscribers, if we can get Marcus to 1,000, and I mean, let's just get somebody to 1,000. The first person to 1,000, I'm giving away a full-size autograph helmet. Somebody get one of these YouTube channels to 1,000, particularly Marcus, because he busts his butt week in and week out for us. So
have you checked your YouTube channel to see what your numbers are?
I know that when we started, we were at 3 subscribers.
Okay.
So let's see. I haven't been on recently. I'm so leery.
I'm on Facebook right now.
I'm on YouTube looking. 72.
Okay.
Hey, so we're making headway there. That was a new thing we started, so I'll take it.
Yeah, so on average, we have about 80 people watching. So if you guys haven't done so already, if you could please do us a favor, go over to youtube.com, look for DC4L Facebook group and or Bluff City Cowboys, hit that subscribe button, help us with our engagement. So
yes,
see we got some questions coming in. So once again, guys, the show is fueled by you guys. So you got any questions, got any comments, feel free to put them in. I see we got a longtime follower, Jack Meeker, joining us tonight, talking about the game, just up and down, Turpin dropping the ball next to the goal line, looked like a disaster, but then a spin move 90 yards later. Just all a part of the wackiness that has followed the Cowboys this season.
That was the absolute, just on that topic. I was standing in my living room, and it's so funny. I usually scream at my TV a lot. I've been very reserved, more so because there's just no reason to scream, and I'm dealing with some other things. So I've been trying to stay calm. When that took place, I'm like, "Are you really gonna drop the ball?" I was like, "You let it go through your legs," and then he took it to the house, and I was screaming very rampantly because it was something. It's exciting. What upsets me about that situation is Turpin is due a contract at the end of the season. So the more plays like that we see him make, the how do I put this? The higher the dollar amount goes up.
Yeah.
So it concerns me that we're not going to be able to keep him, but we'll see.
So I've been pretty much just making this joke. Anytime a Cowboys player makes a good play, he'll be with Dan Quinn next year. Just no question. He'll be in Washington.
I worry about that. Dan's put together. I don't know what happened. That was on the topic of the Washington game.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Washington is much better than the product they put on the field this past week. I don't know if they played down to us, which is a common occurrence when the Cowboys are a really, really good football team, is that we play down to our opponents. So I'm not sure what really happened. Washington is a really good football team. They're not at that. I don't think they're at a Super Bowl level yet. And I know a lot of people gave me a hard time here because I expected Washington to win the division, and it's still not out of the realm of possibilities. But they're a good football team. Yeah. So I look at that. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was Brian going down early and them having to kind of lean more on Eckler. But Brian came back in, didn't he? At one point, he did
come back in. Yeah,
came back in, and then he left again. So I think it was an ankle, is what they ended up saying. And now Eckler's in concussion protocol. So they're a really good football team. Jaden Daniels, I would do anything if he would leave our division. Like I wish we would have got Caleb Williams, because I think he's the next Johnny Manziel of the league. And I know people don't agree. I'm just not impressed with Caleb Williams. I am very impressed with Jaden Daniels, and they have so much money next year, just like they do this year. And they have so much money. That team is only going to get better and better. And the problem is there's so much money because they've played like so few people. They can literally run like circles around. It will be a hard press thing for the Cowboys to fight 2 games a season. Now, I'm impressed because we won last week, but I don't even know if I'd say the Cowboys won that game. More so as I'd say the Commanders lost that game. Sorry. Maybe it'll go back to that eventually. But.
Yeah. So before I come on the show, I normally try to watch the last 3 games just to kind of give some details about what I see. Let me tell you what I see about the Commanders. First of all, I don't know if I want to say Jaden Daniels is regressing, but I will say, based off how he's playing, you can tell that teams are starting to give him looks based off what they've seen as weaknesses. So the last 3 games, he's only been throwing about 25 passes, and he has not been throwing to McLaurin. So if you watch him his first 6 weeks, he was very successful throwing the ball up in there and letting McLaurin go get it. The past 3 weeks, he's been very hesitant to throw it to McLaurin. And because of that, he's been throwing it to Noah Brown like a ridiculous amount.
And we know we know Noah gets lucky every once in a while, but every Cowboys fan knows that Noah Brown is not a true, first of all, he's not a true number 2. And that's what Dan's kind of utilizing him as, because they got rid of everyone else. They got rid of Curtis Samuel. They got rid of Jahan Dotson. They really made Noah the number 2, which makes no sense. But I do agree they've seen film on him. Yes, exactly.
And thank you for watching from Okinawa, Japan.
Yes, welcome in. That's all. I think that might be the furthest we've had someone join us from so far. Thank you, Ken. That's an honor, man. Appreciate it. But no, I do. I think the film's out there. But at the same time, that entire team seems to not be playing to their potential. But, it's funny. If you notice, did you notice one thing that started happening with their defense? One thing about Washington that I've noticed, their run defense is atrocious. Yeah. And we all know as Cowboy fans also how that works. Dan Quinn does not value the big-bodied guy. He wants someone smaller and faster. It's the reason we had safeties playing linebacker for years.
And they have big guys. That's the strange thing.
Well, I think
that was going to be my next point, but go ahead.
Yeah, well, look what Mozzie lost so much weight, and now he's really, actually, I have to give him credit, because we're starting to hear his name now.
In a good way.
I've heard his name a couple times announced, so it's like, well, thank God, because you were a first round pick. So, but no, I find it interesting. I am curious if Dan's a better defensive coordinator than he is a head coach in general.
And that's, to me, that's very common for most coaches. Every coach is not meant to be a coach. Some are just great coordinators who know how to focus in on their specialty and just be amazing at it. And that was actually going to lead to my next point, because I talk about Jaden Daniels. On the defensive side, like you said, they've been getting gashed the past 3 to 4 weeks in the running game. The Giants had 150 yards rushing. The Steelers had about 130. The Eagles, of course, Saquon and Hurts have just been killing everybody. And then even with us, while it wasn't a crazy good game, Rico getting 80 yards when in weeks past he's barely been getting 30.
Yeah,
that's a bad game against them. So
I wonder too, though, if that has to be okay. One thing that makes me so angry when McCarthy calls plays for Cooper Rush compared to Dak Prescott. And I don't want to get down the Dak rabbit hole, because we could be here all night.
I mean, I made like 3 notes all night, and you hit all of them. That's funny.
Look, it's because we work together. We know what we're doing.
Go ahead.
But the balanced play calling that Mike McCarthy does for his backup quarterback should progress to his starting quarterback. You expect Dak to, use his arm to carry a team, and not saying that Dak does not have success, but the more you're forcing the ball down the field quickly and a run game opens up your passing game. Your passing game can open up your run game. You need a balanced offense. And Mike McCarthy called an extremely balanced game for Cooper Rush. And he did when Cooper started in 2022.
Yep, 2021.
I thought so. Okay. So he did the same thing when Dak had a broken thumb. He calls an extremely balanced game. And it irritates me and I know I'm going to get probably really irritable about it throughout the season, because I think we would have more success even with Dak playing if he did the same thing.
1,000% agree.
It's ridiculous to me, because he builds this beautiful play set for Cooper Rush, because the reason he does it is because Dak can get out there, audible his way out of things. Cooper Rush is a statue. I'm afraid we're headed that way with Dak because of the injury. But Cooper is not a mobile dude. And
Mm-hmm.
even still, it's so balanced that he's able to find copious success. Now, I want to see that go to a good team. There's something about the Eagles that scares Cooper Rush to death.
Mm-hmm.
3 interceptions in 2021 when he played him. That was the first loss that he was as a
Yeah.
starter that he took. And then, of course, I expected a loss to the Eagles, but most people are going to lose to the Eagles right now, as much as everyone hates to hear that. They're a
Mm-hmm.
very good football team. But I want to see that same play calling as we move forward when Dak comes back. Hopefully, Mike McCarthy isn't the one doing the play scheming because I do not want him here next year. He's had his shot. Time to move on. I want a young guy. But it's bizarre to me. Cooper played very well. And someone asked earlier, and I want to catch that. Do I think we'll see Trey? We saw Trey at the goal line this past week. I'm sorry, Trey Lance is not a good quarterback. He's not good. He has legs, and that might be useful in certain situations, but it's not in the red zone. He's not a red zone dude, unless you're maybe at the 1, and then you want him to run it in. But you've got Zeke, you've got Rico. You got Lupke. I think they're only utilizing Trey Lance right now just to make that 4th round draft pick that we basically wasted seem less wasted. But I just know he doesn't need any playing time. I think unless you want to, which I want a better draft pick, but at the same time, the team's not going to just go for a draft pick. So
Yeah, and kind of piggyback about what you said about Trey. I mean, take out the Eagles game; it was horrendous.
yeah,
Look at Cooper Rush's last 2 weeks. We got blown out pretty much by the Texans, but he threw for 64% of his passes, 350 yards, 2 touchdowns, I believe,
yes.
and an interception. You look at last week against the Commanders. He threw for 75% of his passes, 200 yards and a touchdown. So when he's playing well based off of what they're giving him. I don't think you're going to get any more than what Cooper Rush is giving us right now from Trey Lance, except for the scrambling ability.
I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
On that note,
Okay.
do you think Dak Prescott would have won that Texans game?
No. Did you see how Joe Mixon was running? There was no chance.
My concern. So looking at that team, a lot of people wanted to say that.
So I will say this before you go ahead. I think it would have looked more competitive because I think Dak, if he was playing, could have made a couple of plays to score more than one touchdown.
Cooper. Yeah. Well, I do think we would have beat. I honestly think that there's something about Dak Prescott when it plays the division. I honestly think that Eagles game was going to be a nail biter if Dak Prescott was playing. There's something about Dak that just like clicks in his head when he's playing the East. I don't know what it is. Yeah. That dude comes in and just rolls the East. I think this is giving Cowboys fans that like to lay blame on one person a very good idea of what is wrong with this team.
Mm-hmm.
And Terrence Steele is a very, very, very big problem. And it doesn't matter. It does not matter. It doesn't matter who's under center. Terrence Steele is a problem on this line. And Guyton is not able to make the transition. And we've seen that. Our line looked better than it has almost all season this past week with backups in.
Now
that should concern everybody in this whole chat. That's a problem.
Let me say something else too, because I know fans aren't going to want to hear this, but how much of Terrence Steele's struggles do you think come from Zach Martin also struggling? Because the only real denominator in that game was there was a different right guard beside him.
I have to say, Terrence Steele didn't struggle last year when Zach had an all-pro year. He struggled Terrence Steele struggled last year even with Zach. But you could say, okay, it was right after the injury. I want to see Guyton at right tackle. That's what I really, really want. I think Guyton played very well in college at right tackle. If you go back and look at Oklahoma game film, he is a phenomenal right tackle. And some people just can't make that. Some people can't make that transition. Some people just aren't able to. Now, Zach Martin, I love that man, and I'm heartbroken. He should have retired at the end of the season last year. I would be shocked if he didn't retire this year. I'm sure he will. That or he'll go to a contender and ride the backup, be a swing tackle for somebody just to potentially bring,
Oh
Anybody on the verge of retirement, my
no,
suggestion to them would be go to Kansas City, be a backup, get yourself a ring, and go home. So
he's gonna start for somebody next year, Amanda, just off name alone, just like Tyron Smith. He's
but
gonna
well,
start for somebody.
look at what happened with Tyron.
I know.
People. I know names are so big and important in this industry, but sometimes it's time to take the horse out to pasture. And everyone here knows what I mean by that.
The
It's
the
he
problem
is
is
ruining his great career, and I know it happens. I know it's common, but Zach Martin this year is erasing memories of everything he did that was good. And I
yeah.
know it's never going to get rid of the history and what he did, but Zach Martin is playing. There was one time he had, what was his grade? Like a 1.
Mm-hmm.
Or it was a 0. It was bad. I have
Yeah.
never seen it in my life. Tyron Smith will definitely, Kevin, he will retire a Cowboy this offseason, would be my guess. Sign a 1-day contract and be done.
So before we get the show going any further, I just want to give a shout out to everybody who's been in the comments so far. So thank you, Jack Meeker, for joining us. Also, David Buntke, thank you for joining. We got Ken Okinawa joining us from Okinawa, Japan. Thank you for tuning in. I believe this is Thanksgiving morning for you, so happy Thanksgiving to you in Okinawa. Who else? Cole DeBoard, thank you for joining. Great comment so far. And also Kevin Nichols, appreciate you tuning in as well. So guys, keep the comments coming. Keep the questions, keep the comments coming. We're going to keep the show going. Let me just give a couple of offensive notes and defensive notes I noticed in this game, and then we'll kind of move forward to the big game we got tomorrow. And I am marking you guys' comments as we go along, so don't think I'm ignoring them. I am putting them on the screen, and we will talk about them. So offensively, we pretty much touched a lot of this. Talked about the offensive line, Terrence Steele. Had 2 backups playing in the game. And you touched base on this before. The line wasn't an issue on Sunday, not because the line was better with backups, but because the play calling was made to fit having backups in the game.
Yep.
Just like you said, a lot of quick passes, finally using the tight end, making Schoonmaker look like he's making him look like he's worthy of that second round pick the past 2 weeks, having at least 50 yards a game, both games.
On that note, I just want to say I think that probably tells you what's going to happen with Ferguson. Schoon's having a great, if he continues on, I do not think we re-sign Jake. So that
wouldn't be surprising, to be honest.
I mean,
it's also Brevin Spann looking good in limited snaps also. Yeah.
So unless you get him on a cheap deal,
that's not going to happen.
It ain't going to happen with Ferguson. There's too many people that would fit him, and we've got too many tight ends on the roster right now. When you look at it, I expect Ferguson to be gone. Schoon looked really good. I actually was like, Schoon, and I ain't never said that in my life since drafting him. So
Amanda, you know what would be a good team for Ferguson to go to? You know what I'm going to say. Dan Quinn. He's going to sign them all.
Well, Ertz is on the way out, to be honest. So, yes, It would make sense. I know people aren't going to like what I'm going to say. And, Coach, if you're watching, cover your ears. Coach.
Don't say it, Amanda.
Okay, go say it, because I know Coach watches too much. I love you, Coach. And if you don't know, that's Micah's dad. Micah watches the show. His dad watches the show a ton. So.
All right. Jack Meeker said TJ Bass was road grading. Definitely looked good in the run game.
I like TJ Bass.
They stuck to the run consistently. I like him also. I think he could play some tackle if we needed him to. The arms are kind of short. He would have to play kind of primarily right tackle, but I think he's starting to kind of
we have a left tackle, Marcus.
I said right tackle.
Oh, well, I'm just saying we have a left tackle on the roster when we need to get rid of Guyton over to right tackle. Just don't forget that.
Okay. Somebody touched base on that in the comments earlier.
What, Smith?
Uh-huh.
And Hoffman is really, really good too. I have to say, what was it last year? That one game Martin went down. That Hoffman was out there. That dude has more passion and energy. I'm excited. I think we actually are going to be in a decent shape once we figure out the right tackle situation and the left tackle. I honestly think that we have enough. We have solid depth there that we could figure it out and find more depth.
Yeah. So We're going to talk about defense. I see everybody's kind of saying we should touch on defense for a second. Anthony Twitty says, "I see we're dealing in reality." Yeah, we're a realistic show here. We don't
We're
come up with
not.
hot button
What is it,
stuff. And
homers? We're not
yeah,
Cowboys homers here. Trust me. We sit here, we talk facts, and we talk about the situation as it is. We're not. If you're looking for someone who's going to be like roo rah go team, that is probably not here.
so that's pretty much my offensive notes. Using the tight end more, and somebody made a note about trading Ferguson. I'm almost certain Ferguson's in the last year of his deal.
I thought this was a contract year. I thought it was three. I thought he was on year 3, but I thought he was drafted in 2021.
I can just check really quick to make sure.
But I could be incorrect.
I could be also. Yeah, he still has one more year left.
Okay, I thought so. Yeah, so he'll be next year because I consider a third year your contract year. That's I remember. That's the way I look at it. You're playing for your contract in year 3.
Yeah,
because year 4 you become a free agent. So we still have him next year. But you could probably find someone who would give you something for him. To be honest,
the only problem with that is we have not been on the positive sides of any trades in the past couple of years. So I'd rather just let them walk and get the compensatory pick because
we got Mingo, Marcus.
That's right. We got Mingo. But yeah, he has been pretty much hurt all year on and off. Yeah. Okay, let me go to the defensive side of the ball because I see a lot of the comments are starting to kind of go towards there. So on the defensive side of the ball, I know what you were about to say about Micah, but having Micah back does change this defense.
It really has. It's made. Yeah. We're going to pay him, and he deserves his money. But it's really interesting to be friends with players' parents and people that like coach the sport and watch the way they communicate about the game and the play calling. It's very interesting. I see a lot of insider things that are just blows my mind.
So yeah, just talking about Micah. Micah makes Golston have a chance to play more one-on-one and show his ability. Tall, fast, physical defensive end. He clears things up for Osa in the inside, and he's helping Overshown to just take another level because there's so much emphasis on Micah in not only the run game but the passing game. Overshown's able to really kind of open it up sideline to sideline. Overshown as well as Kendricks.
He is so good.
Since Micah's come back, both of our linebackers have been making a lot more plays. And I think that's really because the tight ends are focusing more on Micah than they are getting to that second level.
David, Bland was active this past week, wasn't he?
Bland was active this past week.
He was active this past week. I know he played, right? I didn't hear his name, but I'm pretty sure he played a couple snaps. So
he played, and he played well.
I thought so. Yeah, he's already back, David. But say you had me questioning reality. Was like, I know I saw him on the field.
It was. I would probably say half the game. The reason McLaurin didn't get the ball was because Daniels was afraid to throw at Bland.
Can't blame him.
Yeah, I mean he targeted Butler a lot, and
he played well.
Right, to Butler's defense, like for a guy who was undrafted, 27 years old. He went out there and balled. What do you have? 12 tackles, 4 pass defense.
It was 1 interception. Yeah, right. Didn't he have an interception?
Did he get that interception?
Hold on. We posted about it. I know on the DC for L page.
I know Golston got 1. Who got the other one? It had to be Butler.
It had to be. Hold on, I got him on here. Yeah. Let's see. I'll tell you. I'll give you his numbers. Give me just a second.
Okay. So yeah, Butler had a great game considering he was targeted so heavily. Now, mind you, he was covering Brown for the Commanders.
Brown. It was 11 tackles. 11 tackles, 3 pass breakups, and 1 sack. No interception. So
still for a corner, that's a great game. And
it was a really good game.
And to think about it, he had 11 tackles, but he didn't give up a lot of catches, which means not only was he covering, he was also getting his nose in there on run defense, which is something our other highly paid cornerback who missed the game does not do.
I don't. Okay, I'm not going to say it. I'm just going to be like, I was really interested to see how that would go. And I honestly was a little concerned, even though Diggs and his inability, I can tackle better than Trevon Diggs, I'm afraid, sometimes. And that's not saying much. Uh, so I was very impressed with the way the defense played. And I do want to see Duron and Trevon because we really haven't got to see it.
We
Like,
haven't.
we've got these 2 all-pro corners, and we never get to see them, and this is year 3 for Duron too, so,
It is.
it's, next year we're gonna get to see it, and we'll probably
Let's hope
have
so.
Diggs and Diggs next year. That
We-
ACL, all but guaranteed it.
Oh yeah.
So, all but if y'all don't know what we're talking about, Marcus and I probably could put money on it at this point.
Yeah, I
Stephon
would.
Diggs,
I'll do it.
Stephon Diggs will be a Cowboy next year. When he was transferred to when he was traded to Houston, he voided his entire contract with the exception of this year. Stephon Diggs will be in Dallas, so next year
Yeah, you can definitely book that.
because he wants
And
to play with his brother before he retires. It's something they've talked about all the time. He will be a Cowboy next season.
yep. So Jack Meeker asked, is Butler only an undrafted free agent? Yeah. This is his first year in the league, undrafted free agent. I think he's like 26 years old. You should read his story. It's very interesting. He's been through a lot of obstacles in his
Adversity.
life.
Yep.
And
Tons of adversity.
yeah, to be able to come and play and be successful is definitely a testament to all his hard work. So talking about the defense, we talked about Parsons and his impact on the game. Linebackers playing well. Safeties. In this game, the safeties were okay, except for that last play, but we definitely got to get 2 new safeties next year.
Yeah, David Bontke. I'm sorry if I'm not trying to butcher your name, but I probably did. He tore his ACL this year. Non-contact ACL injury.
So one more thing, we're 33 minutes, and then we'll move ahead to the Giants game. Got to talk about the special teams. Turpin's making his presence felt on offense and special teams.
Man.
At one point during the game, I made a tweet like, the offense can't move the ball. Can we please just put all the focus we can on blocking for Turpin to at least get the ball going? And before you say anything, Amanda, I got to talk about this because this has been bothering me for 5 years. When you guys pay attention, and I know I'm probably the only person in the world who focuses on special teams, but when you watch every other team in the NFL on punt team or punt return, they have their gunners out wide, which are the guys who are supposed to make the tackles. Just start paying attention to how everybody else does it. Everybody else puts 2 guys on the gunners. So you will see 2 guys blocking one guy and block him out of bounds, and he has to try to fight his way to get back in bounds and make that tackle.
Yeah.
We have the only team in the NFL who blocks the gunners one-on-one. And that makes no sense to me because you're giving them the fastest guys, the most athletic guys, a free run to get the first hit on Turpin before we can get started. If you block those guys on the outside, and now you're leaving Turpin against tight ends and linebackers instead of making him have to fight those corners who are rushing the edge. I wish I could either send a note to Bones Fossil or just ask him, why does he not like to block the gunners with 2 people? It bothers me every week.
Well, Bones does things look, I have to give credit where credit's due because he's a really, really amazing special teams coach. But that dude makes some boneheaded decisions, like the pass, like the fake punt. Like, come on. It failed one week and you're going to do it again the next week. And it's just, he's got a really special toy with Turpin. And sometimes what you're talking about is basically cuts Turpin off at the knees, really, because I think he'd have a better opportunity if he did use people to block. I think Turpin would have a better shot. I think we'd probably have more returns for touchdown, or at least better returns in general.
A lot more.
We'll see. I don't know if I was the coaching, if I say that Jerry's going to look at a new coach, I really hope they keep Bones. Bones is an amazing special teams coach, but we need a coach that is Mike McCarthy who will say, hey, no, you're not going to do that right now, because that's the issue. Bones does boneheaded things on occasion. So for as good as he is, you need someone that'll say, no, don't do that right now. That's dumb. So
Jack Meeker said, I don't see anyone kicking the Turpin anymore.
They tend not to already. I was shocked they were kicking to him anyway. So
David Banks, before we move on, asked the question, did we put D-Law on season-ending hour? Is there a chance he can come back? He's not on season-ending hour, but to be honest, 33 years old. What is it? Is it a Liz Frank or Achilles?
Liz Frank.
Liz Frank injury?
Yeah.
I think he's played his last snap of football, to be honest. That's a devastating injury for a 20-year-old, let alone a guy that's 30, 32, 33.
At the very least, I think he possibly played his last snap with the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. So we know we'll see him at next year.
Yeah.
Right in Washington. All right, guys.
Right to Dan Quinn.
Yep. All right, guys. Let's keep the show going along. Next up, we're gonna talk about the game tomorrow against the New York Giants. Before we go into our key matchups, got a little bit of news to talk about going into the game. It looks like the seatbelt Kalen Carson has been put on IR.
Yeah.
And also Asim Richards has been put on IR as well. I think Chuma Edoga is supposed to return tomorrow.
He is, and Brandon Cooks.
Brandon Cooks is definitely going to return tomorrow as well. And Marshawn Nealon, I don't think they've activated him.
He played last week. He played against Washington.
That's real right. So Nealon played a little bit last week, so he's probably going to gear up a lot more this week. So that defense is starting to get more and more healthy. Don't know
worst time.
Yeah, don't know what the word is about Trayvon Diggs right now. I would assume because it's a short week, they'll probably sit him out one more week, let him have that long extended rest until next week when we play
Carolina.
So yeah. So you're probably going to get Bland, Lewis, and Butler second game.
And it's fine for this game. There should be Bland can cover Neighbors, and then you've got Slayton on Butler. I think that's fine. So
yeah, I think we'll be okay. Now Slayton is a wily veteran, so
he is good. But my concern isn't with Slayton. I mean, I'm concerned about who's getting him the ball.
Well, the good thing about Slayton is he likes to play a lot of slot, so there'll be more Jordan Lewis. So Butler will see more of Wandale Wright.
And Sherling Shepard. Shepard's in.
He's in Tampa.
Yeah. He's in Tampa now. So.
Yeah, I don't even know who the number 4 receiver is.
I don't either. There's Slayton, Wandale Robinson, Neighbors.
The number Jalen Wyatt, but he's rarely playing this year at all.
Yeah, what is up? He was so big coming out of college, and then I guess when you go to the Giants, your career just kind of falls apart.
Well, the problem is fans, and I love Jalen Hyatt coming out of Tennessee.
Yeah.
Fans get too enamored with athletic traits and they think that they all translate. This is 2024. Half the receivers coming out of college are going to be 6 feet and up and run a 4.4. That doesn't make you stand out the way it did in the 90s or even early 2000s, because now cornerbacks are even bigger and faster.
Yeah.
There's no more every team's corner is 5'11" and under and runs a 4.5. These cornerbacks are converted receivers now. Look at how Trayvon Diggs and other guys like that are. So even though he's athletic and I like him as a player, that doesn't necessarily translate. And that goes back to another conversation we can have about Jonathan Mingo in the 4th round pick we gave up with him. And people saying, oh, he's 6'2" and runs a 4.4. It's a lot of guys that are 6'2" and run a 4.4.
It is not that uncommon in the NFL anymore.
Jalen Hyatt is one of them, and he only has 45 yards receiving in his, third year? This is his
second
year. Second year.
Yeah, they drafted him last year and then took Neighbors again. So
yeah, I just want to throw that in. And David Banks saying the receiver I worry about most is neighbors. Yeah, that's going to be a great matchup. Chuba Hubbard's the one to watch that game. 100%. That's all they got. All right, so talked about the people who are going to be returning this week. Let's talk about some key matchups in this game. So, Amanda, what's the number one kind of big matchup that you see in this game?
Thibodeau on Guyton.
Okay.
That's my biggest concern right now. Was running that, yeah.
I was actually gonna say Brian Burns on Terrence Steele, but we're both thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Both of our tackles are in trouble this week.
Both of them, yeah.
Because,
although I will say Guyton did okay. If we go back to that first game against the Giants, he played okay. He played okay, but Terrence Steele had a really, really rough game that week. So I think our line, I think Cooper Rush better get that ball out very quickly. And I'm sure Mike McCarthy, in all of his glory, because he's got a bunch of backups, will call a beautiful game like he always does at the absolute worst time. So
yeah. So I think we're pretty much in agreement. The tackles versus ends is going to be a big matchup in this game. The Giants starting left tackle is just went on IR. So hopefully the Cowboys take advantage of that, and we get the Micah Parsons lined up against their backup left tackle. It's Chris Hubbard. I think he's a veteran player. I don't remember where he's from, but yeah, that's going to be another matchup to pay attention to. Kevin Nichols. Those penalties are a problem. I chalk it up just to being a rookie that's not getting a lot of help.
Let's look back at Tyler Smith on the same issue. I mean, if you want to play apples to oranges, you can look at Tyler Smith year one at left tackle because Tyron Smith was out, had a ton of penalties. Now look at what you've got. So, I mean, but we have a tendency. I complained about Tyler Smith when we pulled him out of college, when we took him in the first because of his issues with of his
penalties. He led college in penalties this last year.
Right. And Tyler Guyton, same exact story. So you got to hope it cleans up. So,
yeah. So another matchup, and the obvious one is Bland versus Neighbors. That's definitely one you got to pay attention to.
And then I want to look at CeeDee Lamb on, now my mind just went blank. I had it and then it went blank. Their number one corner.
Their nickel corner is the second year player Deontay Banks. They play him in the slot a lot, which is surprising.
Come out. So interesting.
Yeah. Huh. So their starting corners are 5'11" and 5'9", and then Deontay Banks, which is I believe 6'3".
6'3".
They play him in the slot, so they're kind of backwards with how they do that. So that's definitely going to be a great matchup to pay attention to. Yeah. While we're on that topic, do you think Cooks is going to make an impact this game?
I actually expect, and I know this sounds, people are like, why do you say this? So when you have a backup quarterback as your starter due to injury of your first team guy, I always look at your second stringers because that backup quarterback has built a chemistry with those backups. And that's why I think we're seeing Schoonmaker have a lot of success because Cooper and Schoon work together in practice a ton. They're on second team. So I expect now Jalen Tolbert, I expect Jalen to have a very good, because he played with Cooper last year on second team, and now he's he's your first team. But if you noticed, he has been getting a ton of targets with Cooper. Cooper targeted him a lot. So I expect Schoonmaker, Brevin Spanford, and Jalen to have your most kind of chemistry with your quarterback going into this game, and it builds their confidence too. So CD, of course, he had 10 or 11 targets, I think, or 11 catches. It was a ton. I know he broke a record. This past week. So of course you're going to get CD, but I look for those players. I love Brandon Cooks, but unfortunately he's also an older guy that hasn't been in the offense. I think we're going to slow him in. And honestly, I also worry because it was in New York that he got the infection. Like he stayed behind, had the knee drain, then picked up the infection and ended up on IR. So we'll see. I'd like to see him make an impact. I love him. He's a really, really good guy too. His personality and the type of person he is really resonates. He does and stuff. So I'd like to see him have a big impact, but I do not expect it to.
Right.
So.
The only thing concerns me about that, I don't know if I made this comment in our group chat or not, but Rush threw one pass that was deep, and he put everything he had into that throw.
And it went like 40
yards. It was 40. He literally took 2 steps back and really got into it. And it was everything he had. And I think it was a 43-yard pass.
Sorry, I'm just being a smart ass. Everyone thought he was the savior for so long.
Yeah.
He's so good. But
that concerns me about Cooks, because Cooks, while he does have speed, he's primarily a deep threat. He doesn't run a lot of underneath routes at all.
Yeah, and Dak, of course, he can throw 50, 60 pretty easy. Yeah. So, yeah. Turpin, too, though, when you think about his utilization in the offense, because of his size, he's more of your deep threat, and Cooper doesn't have that ability. So,
but even with that, they've been using Turpin more as an underneath, try to run after catch guy. He hasn't been running deep routes on offense.
I know, which is really bizarre to me because of his size. I mean, maybe his speed gets him, to the point of catch a little bit quicker. Yeah. Maybe that's what they're thinking.
Yeah, all he's running is slants and drags. That's all Turpin's been running offensively. No reverses.
Do you think it's because of his size? Do you think it's because that's all Cooper can do, or do you think that's just
100%? That's all Cooper can do. Yeah, they're trying to get, like we talked about earlier in the show, they're trying to get separation early. So if you're going to run a drag route with a player, you want it to be the fastest guy on the field so that he can kind of clear the zone quicker, which is what Turpin did on that one touchdown. He got clear quick, caught the ball, and found another pocket in their zone and ran right through it. So I'm hoping we start to see more of that. We got Steven Franco joining us. Thank you for joining, Steven. Hope you're just got off work. So hope you're getting geared up to enjoy some good Cowboys football and some good food tomorrow.
I hope it's a good game. We got some good games tomorrow, honestly.
There's going to be a lot of good games, yeah.
There's some really good games. And then there's game Friday, which I don't know if it's on Peacock or Netflix. I think the Netflix game is in December, if I'm correct. I don't remember.
It is. The Netflix game, yeah.
That'll be interesting.
Isn't that the game? It's the
Chiefs
and
Ravens.
It's Chiefs and who?
Pittsburgh.
Which game is it that Beyonce is supposed to perform at halftime? Is that the Ravens Commanders?
I
thought that was the Netflix game. I mean,
really performing?
That's what they say, yeah. I think they just announced that. Who's performing at halftime for the Cowboys tomorrow?
Lainey Wilson.
Okay.
It says Beyonce denies she's going on tour after Netflix halftime show. Hold on. So it's the Christmas Game Day Live.
Christmas
Beyonce
game, okay.
So and it's what game is it?
I think it's Baltimore, Washington.
I thought it was Chiefs. I thought it was the Chiefs.
Chiefs in Pittsburgh. Thank you, David Banks.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay. See, I was questioning myself because I joked that the Swifties, but it says, hold on. So, yeah, it is. And then the Ravens will take on Houston.
That's the game I'm thinking about. Yeah.
That's on broadcast. But the Netflix game is the Chiefs in Pittsburgh, which I don't know if we're going to get to watch it. We might see a lot of buffering. I'm really concerned with their ability to run a live stream right now. We'll see.
Yeah, they paid a lot of money for that buffering, so more power to them. Remember when I said 3-12 win seasons may save McCarthy? Jerry Jones said it on the radio, if y'all heard it. Yeah. I think that's just Jerry kind of being Jerry. He gets to talk weekly, and this is how he keeps us.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Real quick. Steven, can I ask you an honest question here, and you can type your answer? If you're sitting next, because he was sitting next to, I don't think he was sitting next to Mike when he said it. The image that they portrayed was that. Are you going to, if you're a coach and you hear your owner say, no, he ain't saved, his job's done. He's thought, Jerry can't say that. It's just, you can't say what you're going to do ahead of time, because then what's the point of Mike actually giving a crap and, coaching through the rest of the season? Jerry has to, there's things that you can and can't say to the media. It's just like people get so worked up about Dak going up there and say, I've got to be better. I have to do better. Well, what else are they supposed to say? I mean, he said it on the sidelines and everyone was mad too. He had a clear word about how he felt the team was this year. So Jerry has to say certain things. And that's the kind of thing that you're expecting. Jerry has to say, it could save him, but he didn't say yes or no. I don't think he gets extended personally, but he obviously can't go up there and say, hey, yeah, I'm going to fire him at the end of the year. Jerry can't do that.
Yeah. He says he can see him sign them back. I don't see it. I really don't.
I don't think so either. Even the 3-12 game seasons, and I don't even know if I'd give that to Mike McCarthy, because he made some boneheaded decisions too. The team play. So I hope Jerry goes in the direction of young coaching staff, because that's the problem. We keep getting these old people in that are trying to do things from the 90s that don't work in today's NFL. We need an innovative young coach who comes in with new ideas, new thoughts, new ways to, to find the win, not something that worked in forever. And if anyone else says Bill Belichick's the answer, tell me what Bill Belichick has done without Tom Brady.
Great comment.
Nothing. Sorry.
Nothing whatsoever.
Nothing.
I personally think he's not taking a Cowboys job, though, even if they offer it.
I wouldn't offer. I mean, you look at this clown. It's like a clown car. Jerry's driving the clown car, and it's whoever's going to say yes to Jerry. That's who gets the job. I wouldn't mind, like Robert Saleh? I can't pronounce his last name. I'd like him for DC. I think he makes a great defensive coordinator. I want someone from the Shanahan coaching tree more than anything. I think that would be helpful. I want young, innovative coaches. If their gut looks like they've been drinking beer and eating donuts, that means they should, with the exception of Andy Reid, okay? I don't mean that. You want a guy who can go out there and play with your guys on the field and get stuff done, not these young, older men, not the old dudes. Sorry. So.
I'm going to give you 3 names that I think you should pay attention to. As I hate to say it, but I don't think we're going young unless it's Kellen Moore. I just don't see Jerry bringing in some young, innovative guy and giving him free reign to change the offense and the culture. Because if you brought in a young guy, not only is he bringing in his scheme, he's going to want to bring in his players. And Jerry, I don't think he's going to give away that kind of control, especially offensively. I don't think he will. I'm going to give you a couple names. I don't like them personally, but I think there are names Cowboys fans need to keep in mind. Number 1, I don't think Belichick's coming here, but I think there may be 2 disciples who may be considered. One of them is Eric Mangini, former New York Jet. Don't choke, Amanda. I'm not saying I want him. I'm just telling you these are my thoughts on who I think may be possible.
Are you telling these are your Jerryisms?
Yeah, these are my Jerryisms. Yeah,
your Jerryisms.
I think Eric Mangini has a very good chance of being Cowboys' next head coach.
I unfortunately think that's really good. I hadn't even thought about that, but you're right.
Another one, I think the Jets may beat us to him, but Rex Ryan. Rex Ryan was heavily advocating to be the defensive coordinator.
I remember.
And if the head coaching job is open, he's charismatic. He's a veteran. He's gonna get fans in the seats, and he's the type of guy where he just wants to coach one side of the ball. If you guys pay attention to who Jerry likes, he likes a one side of the ball type guy. He doesn't like an overseer. So he's gonna be you let me run the defense, you hire your own offensive coordinator, and then we'll see what happens. And Kevin Nichols said Rex said Jerry was too cheap. I did hear when he said that, but I think that's just him having sour grapes because he wasn't chosen to be the coordinator. Because I've also heard him say he has not got a head coach offer in 7 years, and he would do anything to get back into the head coaching ranks. So if his options are limited and Dallas comes knocking, I think he would do it. On top of that, his son is now a coach for the Detroit Lions. I think he wants to coach with his son. So I could see both of those things kind of happen. That's just, I don't think it would happen, but just knowing how Jerry operates, these are the type of guys that I can see being alternatives. And I'm going to give you a third one. They get worse and worse. I'm just going to say that. John Gruden. And I think nobody's talking about those three alternatives, but I think they have just as good of a chance than anybody else that you could think about.
I don't like any of them. I don't even want to pick any of them. Like, that's terrible.
I don't like any of them. I just want the people watching. I don't like these options, but I'm telling you, just knowing how Jerry Jones is, all three of those coaches have TV backgrounds, so they're going to give you sound bites. They're going to already give you some name recognition. They're all older coaches who like to coach their side of the ball, and I think they all want to get back into head coaching. And I know people say the thing about money, but if these guys have been sitting at home 4, 5, 6 years without a head coaching job, if Jerry offers them one, they're taking it.
You're right, but I don't like any of them.
I don't like any of them either.
I guess if I had to choose, I'd be like, I guess Rex Ryan, because that's like the worst of the three, but I don't like any of them. I was just looking here too at the like the options, and they're just terrible. And I was trying to think of a way to make it so that it's not as bad, but there's really no way to make that not as bad at all.
Yeah. And Matthew Hugert, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Amanda and I talked about this on the show, and she brought it up before I went on my spiel.
Yeah.
If you can give me somebody's last name, Shanahan, LaFleur, Kubiak, or who's the fourth last name I'm missing? Kubiak, LaFleur, Shanahan, McVay. Because there's a McVay out there too. Anybody from that family or that coaching style, I don't care who they are. I don't care if they're the janitor of the Niners. I want to put a headset on them because I know what I'm getting from that group of people. Or Ben Johnson, or the offensive coordinator for the Texans. I can't think of his name right now. Name just escaped me. But yeah, you give me one of those, I'm good. They're not happening because they're young and they're going to want too much control.
And that's what's sad. Jerry is so, he will not, he would cut off his own nose to spite his face. Is that what it is? He won't do it. It's so ridiculous.
Yeah, and David Banks says someone who knows the team. Remember, Rex's brother Rob was a defensive coordinator on this team before, so he knows the team.
I really hope that that's none of our options.
I hope not either, but the more I just sit and think about it, those are the names that just popped in my head just because of all the things that I mentioned.
There's a rumor that Jerry could step down. That's what, I don't think so. There's literally this rumor. You're laughing like, guys,
is this April Fool's Day?
No, there's all these people are talking about how Jerry has been so frustrated and that he's going to step down and let Steven run it, which I know people think that's going to be better. I think that's going to be much, 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 much worse. Mm-hmm. The only thing Steven might do is say, okay, hey, I'm going to bring a GM in. Yeah. Maybe you might get that. I'm afraid that we're stuck in this loop. Jerry makes so much money that he doesn't really care what we say, what we do. It's just a mess. But I would like to see Jerry step down. People always talk about Jerry needs to sell a team. No, I don't want Jerry to sell a team. I want Jerry to hire a general manager. Mm-hmm. He's a really good owner. I know people don't like that, but Jerry is a very good owner. The problem is Jerry is GM.
Yeah.
So.
The problem is he does everything, including be the owner. He covers everything under him. Yeah.
The whole family. Charlotte runs one. I mean, all of them. The whole family is employed by the organization. So you got to remember, for Jerry to sell the team, that's to take the jobs away from his kids, his grandkids. I mean, So
Jerry and what's his wife's name?
Charlotte. No.
Charlotte. No,
Yeah,
his
Charlotte.
daughter's name Charlotte.
Charlotte. Now I can't
I
think.
can't think of her name. Jerry and his wife own 51% of the team. The
Yeah.
Charlotte, Steven, and Jerry Jr. split the other part a third each.
Right.
So he couldn't sell the team. He could only sell majority share. We're not getting the Joneses out of the Cowboys franchise. If anything, you have to hope that the right one is in charge that doesn't want to be involved in football anymore and just keep collecting a check.
Right.
Now, personally, I feel like Steven would be better only because I think he would give coaches more control.
I would hope so. Jerry's
Yeah.
such a butt inner. He wants to
Mhm.
be involved. He wants his name. Oh, Gene Jones. That's it. Thank you,
Gene.
Jack.
Yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you, Jack.
It's
Yeah.
just, I don't know. I'm afraid, Cowboys fans, I want a Super Bowl so bad. But the problem is Jerry's ego won't let him go after a Super Bowl unless it's his way.
His way, right.
Because he's never technically won a Super Bowl his way. Let's think about it. He's never won a Super Bowl doing things his way. Because when you look in the 90s, whose way was it? Was it Jerry's? No, it was Jimmy's.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't even technically when he fired Jimmy. Yes, we won the follow, but it wasn't even really, it was Barry's way. I mean, it's never been Jerry Jones's way. And Jerry thinks he's just going to hang around like the crypt keeper until we somehow win his way. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
He's so out of touch with reality. Some people just get that way. He's got so much money and so many people have built up his ego so bad that he truly thinks that there is nothing he's doing wrong.
Yeah.
So,
all right, guys, we're at an hour. We're going to hit a couple X factors.
Let's do it.
Do some over-unders, and then we'll get out of here so you guys can continue to get ready for Thanksgiving Day tomorrow. I know, like today, I was busy cleaning and helping get the food ready for cooking in the morning. So,
man,
you guys are probably going to call back in the kitchen also.
I still have. We make jerky to snack on while we wait for dinner. We make homemade jerky, so it's in the dehydrator. It's got 50 minutes left. Delicious beef and deer jerky, and then I've got like cookie dough that I've got chilling that as soon as we get done here, I've got to make 4 different types of cookies, and literally what you can't see in front of my desk. So I've got like the Santa hat things. I'm already decorated for Christmas, but I have containers because my gifts for Thanksgiving, I start everyone off. When they leave my home, they get cookies. So I have to make 15 treat boxes before 2 p.m. tomorrow. It's going to be lots of fun. And of course, I cook for everybody too. So I am a busy, busy lady. Yeah,
you guys will make a lot of good points. Jerry's World, definitely.
Yeah.
All right. So
on that note, Jerry's World, I really, really just wish I would have been under that massive piece of sheet metal.
At least got a foot under there or something.
Look, ow! You hit me in the leg, Jerry. Okay, here's the deal: hire a GM or send me $20 million. You can pay less to the GM.
No, he paid the 20.
He probably would. Absolutely. He goes, I ain't losing control of this lazy.
Absolutely, he paid the 20.
You're spot on. But it was still funny. We were cracking up, y'all. Our DC4L team has a lot of good fun chatting and joking around. It's a lot of fun. If you're not in the group, please join. We have tons of fun. And if you hurry and you're not there and you join the DC4L group, we've got giveaways up. All sorts of giveaways. And we just gave out 12 Thanksgiving dinners. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. We only had so many that were claimed. So we were only so many people messaged to claim. They had until Monday. And then so what we did is I took everything else that was donated and I called the local domestic violence shelter that is close to me. And I asked what they needed and they gave me a list. So I went and picked it up with everything they asked for with the remaining thing and dropped it off because that's what DC4L does. It was donated for a cause. And because I made huge dinners too. Normally our dinners are $50 and every order I sent out was $90 to $120. They got ham, turkey, all the sides, extra dessert, drinks. We went a little overboard because I wanted to make sure I was utilizing what was donated. And then what was left, we donated to the local shelter. So it was nice. Yeah. I really love the fact this group pulls together for the community.
Yeah, that was great. That was a great concept you guys came up with.
Oh, I'm super blessed. It was part of the reason I guess the Cowboys thought I deserved to be fan of the year. And I have a representative, just so everyone knows, I have a representative. His name's Carson, and he's who I communicate with about things because they want everyone to vote. And then they send me different like infographics and pictures that I can post to get people to vote. And then I have to go do other photo content. I have to go to the stadium for a game next month so that I can take pictures with players that they're going to post for a last push, right, to get votes. And I told him, I said, did you have to choose me on a year that we suck? And he said, what? I said, we're so bad. I said, no one wants to vote for the Cowboys. They're too pissed off. I was like, so you chose the lady to take the crap for you. And he just
Yep.
cracked up. They're so nice, though. In fact, just so y'all know, we have like Marcus can vouch for this. The DC for L Facebook group right now has super high ups in the Cowboys
Yes.
organization as members now. They
Yeah.
joined our group. They put DC for L on the Dallas Cowboy page. Like they literally did a whole piece about our Facebook group and our Facebook page, and the podcast was brought up too. It's really nice. They talked about our podcast. It was really neat. We were excited. So it was a big deal for us. It was the culmination of everything we've worked for in that group.
Yeah.
So.
Still going on for the rest of the year too.
Hey, it is. And I don't know if y'all have noticed, but everything's like blowing up. Our numbers are through the roof because that video is something people keep seeing. So they keep joining. So we've been growing, even though we're losing, which usually will lose members, we're still growing. So that's good. And it's a safe place with no bots because there's a ton of bots in all these other places and you ain't got to worry about that there. So.
And we're consistently screening. I can tell you that for sure.
Lots. Marcus enjoys doing member requests so much.
I do.
He's
like
so good.
people.
He's great at it. I don't have to worry about. There's some of our members because we look at all the pages, make sure you're a fan. We make sure it's not a new profile because new profiles usually mean something sketchy. I know that sounds terrible, but newer profiles 10 to 1. Like you can message us if there's an issue, but it's just we're really particular. And there's some groups out there with like 250,000 people, but half of it is just like scammers and bots. So the whole concept of DC for L was to have a safe place for people to come to, right? And all the work has been paid off. We do community drives, we send people to games. We're super blessed, and next year's going to even be even better. We got all sorts of stuff coming. Y'all get ready because me, the team, my co-owner, and I, we've got a lot of plans for next season too. So.
All right, guys, let's keep the show moving along. Next up, we're talking about X Factors. Amanda, who's the X Factor you think in this game? Just a player who's not like a star, a highly known star who you think can have a major impact on either team?
I think Schoonmaker's going to have a really big game.
Okay.
I really do. I know that sounds silly, but I think he's going to have a really big game. And I don't know if Zach Martin's playing or not, but if not, I think TJ Bass will also have a really good game helping on that right side. So.
Yeah, and guys in the comments, let me know what you think. Who do you think will be an X factor in this week's game? I think this may be Rico Dowdle's best game of the year, so I'm expecting him to get over 100 yards rushing.
I hope so.
I think if you go back 3 weeks ago, they kind of gave him the backfield with when we did see Dalvin Cook. And then last week against the Texans, you saw them kind of playing around and experimenting with Deuce Vaughn and Zeke Elliott more. And then last week against the Commanders, you see, okay, the experiment's over. Let's stick with what we know. Rico got 19 carries. I'm expecting Rico, if the game is us up or competitive, I'm expecting 25 carries this week. So
I'd like to see that.
I'm expecting Rico to have a really good game. And especially like somebody pointed out earlier in the show, if Bass is playing and Hoffman is playing, one thing those guys can do is road grade. And you can tell from watching Hoffman, he just loves pushing people around.
He does. He gets so energized. Like dude brings a new level to the line. Like he brings excitement. I hope we see Tyler Smith though, because I really love Tyler Smith.
I know.
Is he playing? Do we know?
I don't think it's come out yet.
I know we've just been doing kind of walkthroughs. It's been kind of limited.
Yeah.
So
yeah, short week. you're not really going to get on the practice field much. So you're pretty much just Monday treatment, Tuesday film, Wednesday walkthrough. That's pretty much a short week. So
Right.
you gotta lean heavily on your running game because you don't get to work out your rhythm and your scheme with the passing game.
Okay.
So I just did a quick Google search. It looks like Tyler Smith should be playing tomorrow. Now, I don't know
Good.
about Zach Martin, but Tyler Smith should be playing. All right. And one more thing about Hoffman. Remember when Mozzie was interviewed during his rookie year and he said, I don't like football, I just like hitting people. I feel like that was a load of crap, but I feel like that's a Hoffman quote.
It does sound like a Hoffman quote.
So yeah, so you said Schoonmaker, I said Rico Dowdle. Anybody on the while we're here, anybody on the Giants team that you think could be an X factor in this week's game? I know
Devin
you mentioned
Singletary.
Thibodeau versus Guyton. You think Thibodeau?
I think Singletary could do really well, or Tyrone Tracy is
Tracy?
also really, really good. Tracy is such a good player. It makes me angry every time I think about that because he was in the 5th or the 6th.
He was fifth. He was fifth.
Fifth. So I don't know. I think Tracy could really open up their scheme. If we aren't blocking the run, if we aren't stopping the run, we could be in trouble. I'm not, and I don't mean that because it's, we've had issues with the run. So I'm just being upfront. They've got really good backs if they choose to run the right play calling. So,
and Matthew Hugh Hart says Dexter Lawrence. I could definitely see him wrecking shop in the interior. I think he's been the best defensive tackle in the NFL this year.
He's been really good. Yeah.
I think he may be leading. Let me check. Is he the defensive tackle that's won the league leader in sacks? Because I know there's a defensive tackle who has like 9. Yeah, that is Dexter Lawrence. Dexter Lawrence has 9 sacks on the year and 40 tackles, which for a defensive tackle to have 40 tackles is crazy. But to have 9 sacks,
wow,
that's unreal, especially for a nose tackle. At that,
wow,
at 340
that's crazy.
pounds.
That is dang.
Kevin Nichols asked, is Zeke's last Thanksgiving game in the NFL? If he joins the team we play or the Lions play next year.
I think he means in general, is this it for Zeke? Is this the end of the road, the last Thanksgiving game ever? No one wanted him besides us last year, so he barely got picked up by New England.
Yeah.
So I would almost agree that this could possibly be Zeke's last year. I don't think he would want to. I just don't think that anyone would pick him up.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be the issue. It's not that Zeke would want to retire, but he might be left with no other options.
Right. And because I already got kind of started early on free agency, let me just give you guys just a few names who are going to be free agent running backs this year. The list is pretty long, and it's a very good list of running backs. So, James Conner, Najee Harris, Aaron Jones. I had the list, and I can't find it now. Khalil Herbert from Chicago.
Miles Sanders, I think, again, too.
Well, he'll probably he's not going to be a free agent. He'll probably get cut. Nick Chubb, Javonte Williams from Denver, Jordan Mason from San Francisco.
Is he a free agent this year?
He's going to be a free agent, yes.
Somebody sign that man. Like, I will go stand outside the Star with a sign. That dude was really, really good. I don't know if it's scheme or what. Sorry, I didn't know. I thought he was like a rookie.
No,
for some reason.
No, he's been on the team for a while.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's a really wow. Okay, well, I would take that in a heartbeat. I didn't realize he was going to be I didn't realize that. That's good to know, Marcus.
Yeah, so he was an undrafted free agent. So he's been on the team for 3 years, but for 2 years he was kind of practice squad, third string running back, and then this year McCaffrey and the fourth round pick they made got hurt, and he was just thrown in, and look what he did.
Wow.
So
Wow.
I mean, I named a list of 8 guys. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 of these guys are under 25. Alexander Madison, Jordan Mason, Javonte Williams, Najee Harris.
My concern with Jerry is okay, but here's the thing. I know we're about to go, but I want to leave this with you fans. Okay, look. Jerry Jones has no options next year. He will have to spend money in free agency. There are no options. We have way too many players that aren't under contract. So we're going to have to sign some of our own. But at the same time, we will have to. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts. The draft will not fill every hole this team has. So you better hope that Jerry Jones goes out there and starts spending early, because if not, we're going to be potentially even worse than we are this year, because we are losing a ton of people. So say if we end up messing up this draft pick, because I want Ashton Genty. That's who I want. I want Ashton. He's amazing. If you haven't watched him play football, I'm not a college football fan, but I have watched enough video to know that is the second coming of Derrick Henry right there in that dude. So I want him. But if for some reason we win some games and we end up messing up that draft pick, because he's going to go top 10, we're going to need a good pick. If we mess that up, I think that if we don't get who we want in a running back in the first round, I expect us to have to find one in free agency. And he also wants to play for the Cowboys. That's the thing. It's just like Micah. I'm really hoping he's manifesting like Micah said, I want Dallas. Ashton said the same thing. He's a local guy. He lives here. He wants that. Matthew, you're not getting a new QB. Just go ahead and
you can keep saying that. That's not happening.
You can say it as much as you want. Dak Prescott is not leaving. Do you realize it's like $200 million in dead money? He's not going anywhere.
Yeah. So, Amanda, I was gonna say this because I know you say you don't watch college football.
He's not the
Henry. Henry is not a good comparison, but let me tell you who the good comparison is.
So?
No, not at all. The size is way off.
Well, his skill set is what I'm more looking at, not size, I guess. His skill set's there, is my opinion. I don't watch enough college football, so.
Let me give you my 2 comparisons. His floor. Maurice Jones-Drew. That's the floor.
Okay.
Solid 1,300-yard running back. His ceiling, who is the player that I see every time I watch him play, LaDainian Tomlinson.
Really? You think so?
Yeah.
Wow.
Definitely.
So 100%. Better than Henry.
100%. He's contact balance, acceleration, vision, can catch, good enough blocker. I see LaDainian Tomlinson.
Well, see, when I look at his video, it's the way he cuts, is the way he cuts. That's what reminds me of Henry. But I never really thought about size-wise, because when you're watching from the screen, it's really hard to get a good concept of how big they are, right? But I just know that he looks amazing.
Yeah.
And when I watch him, I'm like, man, because Dak needs a balanced offense, right? Like you keep taking away, playing addition by subtraction. You're asking Dak to do more with less. Every year since 2016, Dak gets somebody taken away, someone taken away, someone taken away. It's like, here, do more with less each year. So I just want Dak to have a good running back. When Dak has a good running back, he plays great football. Give us a balanced offense. Quit passing 50 times a game. Run the ball 25 times. Throw the ball 25 times. We will have success. So
I wouldn't go Barry Sanders-ish. I don't think he's that quick-footed, but he's got more than enough. And I just, when I watch him play, I just see LT. And I hope that's not putting too much on the kid, but his floor, like the lowest I can see him, is Maurice Jones-Drew. So those some good comparisons for a guy to me.
Well, if we keep winning, we can go ahead and wish him right off that wish list. So
the problem for us is this isn't going to be a good a deep draft.
No.
Now, I think if this was a regular draft where you had a couple of corners, a couple of tackles, he could probably fall 11 to 15. But this draft is going to be void of talent once you go past like 11. And he may be the second most pure talented player behind Travis Hunter. And once you get to about 4 or 5, I don't see how you can justify taking which is surprising. I can't justify taking a offensive tackle, defensive end, or wide receiver in front of him at a running back position. That's crazy. So yeah, that's definitely that's all season talk though.
I just to that comment, your last comment, Dak had the best career of his life last year. It takes a team is not just one person, and I think that's what's weird. I think you can look at the team and see the struggles that this team's having right now with Cooper Rush and realize that the problem's not the quarterback. Dak's not perfect by no means, but you can't just expect the quarterback to carry your team. There's only like 4 or 5 people that like in the history of the NFL, or at least in the last 10-year quarterback wise, that you can throw out there and find success with a terrible team.
Yeah.
So it's you have to have a balanced team, and we don't have it. That's why Dak played so well last year, because the team was pretty dang balanced.
So Kevin Nichols asked a good question. This is off-season talk. We're at hour 20 minutes. We'll answer this and then we'll get out of here.
Okay.
Would I take Hunter or Genty?
Genty.
If I'm going need is Genty, but if I'm going for the best player, it's hard to pass up Travis Hunter to me.
Well, I mean, people say that we're going to pull Hunter to try to get Prime in to coach. I do not want that circus either. I do not want that circus, because he's not going to come in and coach unless his son's on the team. He's already said it. He will not coach the NFL unless his son's the starting quarterback. Like, just that's a name that people want to see. I love Travis Hunter. I've seen his highlights too. He is an exceptional player, but I look at what we have on the team and I don't see the need. I know that sounds terrible, but we have Diggs, you have Bland, I don't know. I don't see why you would. I guess you could bring him in and not pay Bland in another year. I mean, you could do that, or let Trevon Diggs go. I mean, you could do that too. Yeah.
The kid is talented enough; he can convert and be a quality wide receiver.
I know he plays both. I know. So you think he's going to come in and be the second behind CD because you just paid CD? I just look at need.
Yeah.
I know he plays both positions. Trevon Diggs, maybe we can move Trevon back over to wide receiver, okay?
I think Hunter could be an X on the NFL team. I don't think he has to play corner in the NFL to be successful.
I haven't seen many of his wide receiver highlights. So I look at him as a corner. When you look at most of his highlights, it's because they are featuring him as a corner. I know he plays both. I don't know. I think he goes top 5 personally.
I think he goes 1 or 2. Some people play both sides of the ball. He plays both sides of the ball. It's not like, oh, we're gonna do a package for you. No, he looks like a first round pick wide receiver, and he looks like a first round pick corner. It's ridiculous the talent level that he has. And he's playing both sides of the ball like 90% in the same game and still looking like a number 1 pick on both sides. That's unheard of.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's not like he's playing corner full time and then he's playing 15 snaps at receiver when they need a spark. No, he's out there at the X every play, and then getting a water break during the punts and going back out there on defense.
That's crazy. I'm gonna have to go look for the wide receiver set then.
David Banks asked the question, and we're doing free agency talk. The free agent safety list is unrealistically long and talented. I'm just gonna give you 5 names, and then we'll move forward. Buda Baker, Honey Badger, Justin Simmons, Marcus May, first round pick Trevor Mayrig. I don't know if you guys remember him from TCU a couple years back, drafted by Oakland.
Yes.
Those are just 5 names, and some of those names aren't even top 5 to me. It's going to be a very good safety class. So there's going to be, we're going to get one of them. We have to, because all these guys aren't going to have a home.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep the show going along. We're hour 25 minutes. We just did X factors. Let's do a couple of over under. So for you guys who are still with us, I'm going to give you guys a statistic, and you let me know in the comments whether or not you think this player will go over or under that statistic.
Okay, I'll be right
So,
back.
okay, go ahead. So, Amanda, when we talked about X factors, says that she thinks Schoonmaker is going to be an X factor in this game. So, over under 55 yards receiving for Luke Schoonmaker in this week's game. He's gotten at least 45 yards the past 3 weeks. Thanksgiving game, prime time. Amanda thinks the offense is going to lean on him a little more. Over under 55 receiving yards for Luke Schoonmaker. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. And while you guys get your comments together, personally, I think he'll probably. I know we don't do push on here, and I don't have any notes, so I think he'll probably go under, but not by much. Amanda, the first over-under was 55 yards receiving for Schoonmaker.
Over.
Okay. Amanda with a quick over. Matthew says over. David Banks says over. Kevin Nichols also says over. So they're all along with you, Amanda.
I think he's going to have 70. I think he's going to have 70 to touchdown. I think it'll be a big game for him.
That would be a humongous game for him.
Well, Jake's already been ruled out.
Uh-huh.
They've already ruled Jake Ferguson out. So I think he's going to be the safety net for Cooper Rush. And I'm not saying that it's going to be because of the arm. It's going to be yards after the catch.
Okay. All right. So next over under, I had my X factor as Rico Dowdle. So over under 75 yards rushing Rico Dowdle. He hit 89 last week. 2 weeks before that, he was slightly under 75 yards. So over under 75 yards rushing for Rico Dowdle. I'm leaning over personally, and that's one of the reasons why I think Schoonmaker won't get the yardage, because I feel like this is going to be a hand the ball to Rico game and let the defense lead the way.
My concern is the line on that. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's really going to depend on the line makeup. If I think he would. So it's hard for me to judge. I would say slightly over.
Okay.
But not by much.
All right. Everybody else kind of saying over also. Okay, let's do it. Let's do a Giants over under. So we just talked about running backs. You brought up Tyrone Tracy having a really good rookie year. I think the last time we played the Giants, they only had like 35 yards rushing, if I'm not mistaken. So over under, I'm going to double it. Over under 60 yards rushing, 70 yards rushing for the Giants backfield. That's Singletary and Tracy.
So for both?
For both together, 70 yards rushing, over under.
Oh, man. I would say, for both of them?
Yeah, both of them.
Slightly over.
Okay, slightly over. And I'm right there with you. I think it's slightly over also. Okay, Brandon Perez says over also. All right, I'm going to give you 2 more over-unders, and then we'll get out of here. Kevin Nichols says Tracy alone will have over 80. Okay, so you're looking for him to get back on track. Everybody's saying over. Got a lot of overs tonight, no matter what I say. All right, let's do another one then. Malik Neighbors been kind of quiet the last 3 weeks. Probably going to see a lot of Bland this week. Over under 65 yards receiving. He's going to be playing probably with Drew Lock, which is their number 3 wide receiver, number 3 quarterback. Going to see a lot of Bland. Pass rush is really going to be bringing it. Thanksgiving game. The past 2 years, the Cowboys have really been looking good on Thanksgiving.
On Thanksgiving, yes.
Yeah, so over under 65 yards receiving for Malik Neighbors.
Oh, man. Under.
Okay.
Under.
Amanda says under.
Yeah.
Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Over under 65 yards receiving for Malik Neighbors. David Banks saying gotta have faith in Bland, so under. Brandon Perez going the opposite. They gotta feed him. So over. Kevin Nichols, Neighbors have about 70 yards. So pretty much a split on that one. I'm leaning a little bit towards over on that one, but I'm kind of with you, Kevin. I think it's 70. All right. Last one. Matthew says I like Neighbors, but under. Last one. Amanda and I both talked about this earlier in the show. We talked about our key matchups. We both chose a different defensive end from the Giants as our key matchup. Also, we got Micah going against a rookie left tackle. You got Marshawn Nealon getting back into the fold, coming back healthy. Chauncey Golston playing well. Osa defensive front seven is about as healthy as it's been since week 2.
It's almost all season.
Yeah. Everybody's going to be here except for D-Law, but he's not a pass rush specialist anyway. Which team gets more sacks? Giants or Cowboys? Which team gets more sacks against the opposing team? Does the Cowboys defense get more sacks than the Giants defense? Which defense gets the most sacks? Let me know what you guys think in the comments on that one.
That's not fair.
It's pretty much strength on strength against weakness on weakness. Kevin Nichols says Cowboys 4 sacks.
Can I push?
You can't push on an either or, man.
That's not fair. I mean, they're going to be even. They're going to have the same amount of sacks. See, it makes sense.
What do you think that number is then?
3 apiece.
3 apiece? Okay.
And it's not that it's just that Cooper's a statue for the most part, and our line is not that good. And you got Banks and Thibodeau on our 2 weakest links in the line, or maybe on. I mean, I hate to say this, if Zach's playing, he is so bad. Man.
That's a tough one.
It is tough. That's why I said about the same, but I would give the leniency to the Giants if I had to give a leniency to anybody. Okay. And I know y'all don't want to hear that, fans, but that's who I would.
Well, they're all going Cowboys, so they're definitely against you.
Yeah.
Easy Parson, East, and Overshawn will too. Overshawn Hook. And they've been the one thing I really like about the defense, we've been seeing a lot more of those double A gap blitzes.
Yes.
That Mike Zimmer's known for with Overshawn and either Parsons and sometimes what's the linebacker's name? I always go blank.
Who? Overshawn?
No, the other
their linebacker.
Our linebacker.
Overshawn?
No, the
Kendricks.
other one. Kendricks, yeah. Kendricks and Overshawn, Kendricks and Parsons. They've been doing a lot of the double A gap blitzes and shows, and that's been causing some problems with the past 2 teams we played. Because of that, I'm gonna lean Cowboys too. I know Rush is a statue back there, but they've been scheming him to get the ball out of his hands quicker, as opposed to the Giants, who they run a lot of 10 or 15 yard routes. It's going to be a backup quarterback. I think they're going to be able to throw some stuff at them to make them hesitant and allow our pass rush to get there. Now, to me, it depends on which quarterback plays, because Drew Lock, fans don't know him, but Drew Lock is a pretty athletic quarterback.
He is. I agree.
Yeah. Extremely strong arm. If it's Tommy DeVito, I can see him making more mistakes than Lock. But I'm still going Cowboys on that one.
I hope I'm wrong.
Oh, that's the motto of this show. We try to be realistic, but we hope we're wrong.
I can hope so.
That's pretty much all we got for tonight's show. 1 hour and 35 minutes. Thank you guys for joining us. The views, while they weren't as high as we expected, it is the night before Thanksgiving, so we know a lot of other priorities are taking precedence.
Well, and you got, this team hasn't really left much to be desired.
That's true. Yeah.
Or has left much to be desired. So.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely with that. But the views that we do have stay consistent throughout. So thank you guys for continuing to watch us. The likes are higher than the views, so we definitely appreciate your engagement.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, if you guys haven't done so already, Facebook and YouTube, DC4L, YouTube, Bluff City Cowboys. Find the link earlier in the show. Go vote for Amanda as Fan of the Year. I'm
Yes.
pretty sure if she wins, this show is known for prizes, so you'll see Amanda, and she'll probably be doing a giveaway to celebrate if she wins. So be sure to go hit that link and cast your vote. That's pretty much all we have for tonight's show. Thank you guys for watching. Definitely appreciate all your support. We will see you guys next Wednesday at 8:30 Central Standard Time for the next episode of the Fifth Quarter Podcast. Hopefully, we will be celebrating another Victory Wednesday as the Cowboys defeat the New York Giants.
Yes.
And we'll be looking ahead to our game against the Carolina Panthers. I think we're going to have a little bit of a streak going right here. So definitely want to tune into the show and keep watching.
Let's do it.
All right. Any last words before we got here, Amanda?
That's it for me. I just want to thank everyone for being here. I appreciate y'all. Y'all put up with us. You're sticking through it with us, and we appreciate you. And we'll have some cool prizes coming up next week too. So,
yeah, thank you guys for watching. Appreciate your support. Like, share, follow, engage. You guys fuel Fifth Quarter Nation. You guys fuel DC4L. We will see you guys next week. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. And as always, let's go Cowboys. Have a good night, everybody.
bye, y'all. Happy Thanksgiving.